Welcome back to the Courageous Men Podcast. I'm Whitney Sewell, and I'm grateful you're here. Today, I want to talk about something that trips up a lot of men, the lies we've bought into about what it means to be a man. From TV to social media, our culture isn't shy about promoting its misguided and often downright harmful version of manliness. And unfortunately, even at church, the message we hear don't always give us the full picture, or they can be easily misunderstood since short sermons don't provide enough time to cover all the nuance. As a result, it can be really confusing to know how to be a man or what that should look like. Without a clear biblical picture, we end up chasing the wrong goals, measuring ourselves by the wrong standards, and wondering why we still feel unfulfilled. So today, let's call out the most common myths about manhood and explore what godly courage, leadership, and strength really looks like in the lives of men, husbands, and fathers. We'll look at 7 common myths too many Christian men believe, and the truth we need to replace them with instead. As we do, pay attention for any myths that especially resonate with you. Myth number 1, your success is measured by how much you achieve or accumulate. The world tells us that bigger titles, fatter paychecks, and flashy accomplishments equal worth. But Scripture paints a very different picture. Luke 12:15 reminds us that life isn't about the abundance of possessions. True success is being the man God has called you to be and doing what He has asked you to do. This may not look like success in the world's eyes, but in God's eyes, it's far more valuable. Myth number 2. A man's main job is to protect and provide financially. If he does those 2 things, that's enough. Providing and protecting are very important, yes, but it's not enough. Ephesians 6:4 tells us to raise our children in the training and instruction of the Lord. That's emotional and spiritual leadership, daily attention, prayer, and intentional guidance. If you're only providing and protecting, you're leaving the most important parts of manhood on the table. Myth number 3, being a man is about physical toughness and dominance. Being strong physically or intimidating others doesn't make you a man of God. While the Bible does instruct men to be strong, it also reminds us to be gentle, humble, and fully reliant on God for strength. True courage is quiet, consistent, and sacrificial. It's, humility in leadership, patience, and with your family or with integrity in every decision. That's the kind of strength that actually lasts. Myth number 4, men shouldn't need to ask for help. The world loves to sell, the lone warrior narrative, but the Bible doesn't. God designed men for brotherhood and accountability. It's wise, not weak, to seek counsel, mentorship, and prayer. Proverbs 27:17 tells us that iron sharpens iron, right? Courageous men, build community and fight battles together. They don't pretend they can do it alone. Myth number 5, a real man never shows weakness. Courage doesn't mean you're never afraid, never struggle, or always know the answer. It means choosing obedience to God over comfort, even in the face of fear and doubt. Paul reminds us in 2 Corinthians 12:9 that true strength is found in weakness. When we're honest about our limits and lean fully on God's power, owning your humility doesn't diminish your manhood. It's where God's strength shines through. Myth number 6, men shouldn't get emotional. The world says real men bury their feelings, right? But that's not what I see in Scripture. Jesus wept openly at the loss of a friend. King David danced unashamed and poured out his deepest emotions in the Psalms. God didn't make men to be strong walls. He made us to feel deeply and bring it to Him. True strength is having the guts to face your heart honestly, right? And bring it before God and show up as your just real, unguarded self. That's courage. Myth 7, you have to have it all together to lead your family. No one shows up perfectly. If you wait until you're flawless, your family waits too long. Leadership is about showing up, learning, and growing while staying committed. Your kids notice more than your words. They watch how you handle mistakes, lean on God, and keep faith when life gets messy. This is why James 1:5 tells us that if we need wisdom, we should ask God. He wouldn't tell us to do this if we already had all the wisdom we needed. If one or more of these myths resonate with you, please know you're not alone. I've walked through seasons where I bought into these myths as well, thinking more money or more control would make me enough. I've seen what it costs when you lean on cultural, definitions of manhood instead of God's design. It's lonely, exhausting, and unsatisfying. And I don't want that for you. The good news is you can learn to replace these myths with truth. Truth that equips you to lead courageously, love intentionally, and live with eternal significance. Before we close, here's a challenge. As you think back over these myths, notice which one hit you the hardest. Now picture what it would look like to reject that myth and step into God's definition of manhood. Maybe it's, leading your family in prayer tonight, calling a mentor for guidance, or being vulnerable with your kids. Courage grows through small, intentional steps. So choose one and take it today. As a reminder, the 7 myths were, that your success is measured by how much you achieve or accumulate, that a man's, main job is to protect and provide financially, that being a man is about physical toughness or dominance, that men shouldn't need to ask for help, that a real man should never show weakness, that men shouldn't get emotional, and you have to have it all together to lead your family. Brother, these lies are loud, but God's truth is louder if we're willing to listen. You don't have to settle for, the version of manhood the world is selling. You can choose the path God laid out for you, one marked by strength, rooted in humility and courage, fueled by faith, and leadership defined by love. Take some time today to reflect on and pray about how these myths might be showing up in your life, and be courageous enough to make whatever change God is calling you to today. If this episode spoke to you or encouraged you, I hope you'll subscribe to the Courageous Men podcast so you never miss an episode. But I also want you to share it with a friend who might need the encouragement as well, and just the challenge and the truth to live courageously, right? So share the show. Thank you for being here. I'm honored to walk this journey with you, and I'm grateful for every man who chooses courage over comfort.